Hi, this is Debbie with Book and Bujo, and it's great to have you here. Today I'm going over my October TBR. So each month I play TBRopoly, except for September, of course, which was a Bookopoly-thon. And TBRopoly was created by Mandy Lynn Reeds, which I'll link her channel down below. And she created this after doing Becca's Bookopoly, and she had her own TBR game before that as well. So it's similar to Bookopoly, except there's a lot of blank spaces where you draw a card instead of having the community shelf and chance cards. You also have the 22 and 22 books, as well as non-reading prompts. So like listen to a podcast, spend the day with family, or even do some art, try some painting, do something new, take a class, something like that. So I always do 5 rolls, so that way if I finish early I can do some mood reading. And also if I feel like it, I could put some really big epic fantasy chunker books on there if I only have 5. So I'll be doing 5 rolls, and we'll start with roll number 1. So we got 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is an odd. So I get to read anything you want. Well, that's awesome. So for my first roll, I rolled a 6 and a 3. So I got a 9, which is an odd, and I landed on a blank space. So I drew an odd card, and I got anything you want. And for that, I chose Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. All right, roll number 2. Got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is an even, and that is an ebook. For my second roll, I rolled a 1 and a 5, so a 6 again landed on a blank space, so that's an even, and I chose the card ebook. And for that, I am choosing The Storyteller's Secret by Sajal Badani. All right, roll number 3. I got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So A to Z challenge. And then my next roll was a 7, so a 4 and a 3, and I landed on A to Z. Well, I finished my A to Z challenge already. I've already read a book starting with each letter of the alphabet. So I decided to sub in the Pop Sugar Challenge instead. And for that, I'll be reading The Jazz Palace by Mary Morris. All right, roll number 4. 3. 1, 2, 3. So again, that's an odd. Read a book you keep putting off. So my fourth roll, I rolled a 1 and a 2, so 3. Again, I landed on a blank space, and so that's an odd. So I chose Read a Book You Keep Putting Off. And for that, I chose The Haunting of Bryn Wilder, and that is by Wendy Webb. And I've been wanting to read this book for, it feels like 2 or 3 years now, and I just keep putting it off and just not getting to it. So I will be getting to it this month. Right, roll number 5. 3. 1, 2, 3. A classic. And then the last roll, the 5th roll, I got 3 again, so 1 and a 2. So no doubles for me this month. And for that, I landed on classic. So I will be reading The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. All right, so I also do my TBR jar, so I used to work in facilities, and this was one of the best vendor gifts I think I've ever gotten. It's just a random little trash can. It's just adorable. So I use that for my TBR jar. All right, so let's see what we got. I have some really random stuff in here, so we'll see. The Dream of the Red Chamber. I assume that's a random book I have on my Kindle. When I first got my Kindle, actually every year since I've got my Kindle, every so often I go in and find all the free books that are on there, and then I just snatch them up, and then I write them down and put them in my TBR jar. And so there's a lot of randomness in here. So we'll see. The Dream of the Red Chamber, we'll see what that one turns out to be. So and on top of Bookopoly, I also do a D20 roll. And that is a 6, with a little dot down below, so it's a 6, not a 9. For number 6, that's actually the same number I got in September, so I will be reading Slip by David Estes. All right, and then my D20 roll, I rolled a 6, and that I will be reading Slip by David Estes. And David Estes is a great writer. I read the first epic fantasy he's ever written, so he usually does sci-fi, so like Slip is a sci-fi dystopian book. And if you get a chance to read his Fate Mark series, I highly recommend it. It is so good. Such a great epic fantasy. Like, just the characters, the world building, the atmosphere, everything about it was 5 stars for me. All 5 books, 5 stars. And then I also do a roll for my Amazon borrows. 0, so I will count that as the 10. So, and number 10 is The Storyteller's Secret by Sajal Badang. And then my Amazon borrows, I rolled a 10, and for that I rolled The Storyteller's Secret. So luckily I get to double up on 2 of my prompts there for my second roll as well as this one. All right, and then for the 2 read book clubs that I'm participating in is the Full Moon Book Club. We're reading Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher this month. And for the Howling Pack Book Club with the Wild Sasha, we're reading Into the Drowning Deep. And that is by Myra Grant. And then I'm continuing my Realm of the Elderlings, the Elderling Long, and I'm up to Fool's Assassin. And then for the Shadowhunters readathon, we are reading City of Heavenly Fire this month. And then I will be taking part in 3 readathons this month. The first one is Breath of the Wildathon, and that is with Little Book Owl, and I'll leave her channel linked below. And I am on Team Rivali path, and so there's 4 teams, and each team takes a different path. We all start at the same place, we all end at the same place, but we take a different path to get there. And for Team Rivali, the first prompt is East Reservoir Lake. Read a book with blue on the cover, and I'll be reading The Jazz Palace. For Terrytown, read a book about fresh starts or new beginnings, and I'll be reading The Vanishing Half. For the third prompt, South Akala Stable, read a book with fall vibes, and I'll be reading Cemetery Boys. Also, you have to read the books in order of the path, unless you got the glider from completing the last couple of challenges, which I don't actually have the glider because I didn't finish one of the mini challenges. I didn't get there. I missed one of the Instagram prompts. So then we have the Blood Moon card. So there's on the website for the Breath of the Wildathon, they have 10 Blood Moon cards. So you roll a die, and I rolled a 4, and so then you choose the 4th card for me, and that's Read a Book with Dragons. So I'll be reading Fool's Assassin for that one. And then the last prompt is Divine Beast of Arudania. Buzzword Fire. Read a book with fire or related word in the title. So I'll be reading City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. For the bonus challenges, Gut Check Rock can be doubled up. So this book you can double up with other books. And read an intimidating book. And for this I'll be reading House of Leaves. And then Skull Lake, participate in at least one Fang and Bone challenge. So these are challenges that will be posted on social media throughout the month, and so you can just pick one of those as they come up. So at this point I don't know what the challenge is going to be, and it's most likely going to be probably an Instagram or social media challenge. And then Lomai Labyrinth Island, which can also be doubled up, is read a mysterious or puzzling book. So for that one I actually have Into the Drowning Deep or Nettle and Bone as my options. I can also do Mysterious Island, but I can also double up and just read House of Leaves for both of those. And then the next readathon I am taking part in is The Haunting of Reader's House, and that is put together by Books and Bops, and I'll leave them linked below as well. And there's 13 prompts, and everybody kind of takes the same path. You can read whatever prompts you want. You can read 13 books for the same prompt. You can read 13 separate books. You can double up how you want. And you're trying to get each of the characters through the haunted house. And so every book that you read counts, it takes everybody one step forward. So this one I'll be casually participating in. If I have a book that happens to fit a prompt, I will submit that, but if I don't, then I won't worry about it. I'll leave the prompts linked below so you can check them out. And then the last one I do is 13 spooky reads every year. So every October I try and read 13 books that are spooky, fall vibes, kind of horror thrillery type books. And I have probably about 16 to 20 books that I would like to get to, but my goal is to get to 13 of them. So some of my options are Coraline or The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, House of Leaves, of course, Nettle and Bone, Sanctuary by V.V. James, Hall of Skulls by Jamie Eubanks. Some of these are just random ones I found on my Kindle. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, The Haunting of Bryn Wilder, The Killing Game by Kate Bold. Also have Cemetery Boys again. Into the Drowning Deep. Night Books by J.A. White, that one's a middle grade. Bacchanal by Veronica Henry. Grave Illusions by Lena Gardner. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. So last year I read A Haunting of Hill House, so it might be fun to read another Shirley Jackson book for this year. And then also The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. So I read Interview with the Vampire last year, so it might be fun to continue that one with The Vampire Lestat. All right, and that is my October TBR. Pretty ambitious, so technically only 5 that are on my TBRopoly, but it could be up to 25, depending on how things go. So come on back at the end of the month and check out all the books that I read, my thoughts on them. And if you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments what you thought about them. If there's any that you think I would like and you suggest I should read, leave that down below as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like if you want to. And I will catch you next time. Bye!